Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm back again with another new clip about some creepy TikTok that will make you question some reality. Let's get started.
This is very urgent. On April 1st, everyone that is watching right now needs to fast and pray for 3 days. Hear me very closely. On April 1st, this is next week, you need to fast for 3 days. No food, just water. God is calling us into consecration. There are certain strongholds that need to break in our lives. God in this season wants to open up new doors, new chapters, new seasons for his people. But we cannot move into the seasons with baggage, with iniquity, with transgression, with sin. God is calling for an emergency consecration. I'm reminded of God when he spoke to Moses and told the children of Israel to consecrate before the Lord would speak to them. God is calling for consecration. He is calling for holiness. God is calling us to return back to our first love, Jesus Christ. We need to fast and pray that the accusation that the enemy has against us will be completely obliterated, will be completely thrown out. Hallelujah. In the name of Jesus, by petition of the blood of Yeshua. You need to fast. We need to fast. I will be
What do
fasting
you guys think
next
about
week
that?
on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And we're going to break the fast on Thursday. My God, if you're with me, I want you to send an inbox, and I'm going to send you a link for the Telegram. I want serious people, my God, that are going to commit to 72 hours of fasting and prayer. Jesus is coming back very soon. We need to fast. This is urgent. My God, send a DM right now to this page. You will get a link for the Telegram. And I want us to fast together in Jesus' name. Amen.
Your name has more power over your life than your birthday. Your name was not a random event. Your name is a frequency, and your soul resonated at the frequency of your name. And then your soul chose your birthday because our name tells us who we are, and our birthday tells us why we are here on this planet, okay? So, for example, let's go down all of the vowels. People with names that start with A, or A being the first vowel of their name, or even if they have A in their name, they are naturally assertive, naturally aggressive, and bossy and dominant people. They can definitely be headstrong. They don't like to be controlled and bossed around. They can also be very stubborn, okay? This is the energy of the one. E. E is the fifth letter of the alphabet, so E represents five. Five represents freedom. It represents travel. It represents innovation and adaptability. So people with five energy,
So this
E,
is the truth
they
about
don't
our name.
like boredom. They need stimulation. They are always into something, even if it's to the point of them getting into mischief. So people with five energy, they need their
What you
freedom.
guys think
Do
about
not
that?
try to control or shackle them down, or you lost them, okay? I. I is the ninth letter of the alphabet, so I equals nine. Nine is spirituality and humanitarianism, death, rebirth, transformation, the ending of cycles. If your name starts with I or is in your name, you are naturally inquisitive. You are naturally intuitive. You are able to see into the heart and soul of situations and people with great clarity without needing a lot of information. You are also a humanitarian. You want to make the world a better place. You often overgive to the point of being taken advantage by others, and you have to learn to have stronger boundaries, okay? People with nine energy, they attract money because they can be rich and poor many times in one life. So if you take the gematria of the word money, okay, and you see M equals 4, O equals 6, N equals 5, E equals 5, and Y equals 7. If you add those letters or numbers together, you equals 27. 2 plus 7 equals 9. So money equals 9. People with 9 energy are able to attract money. Okay? O
Whoa, that is
is the
crazy.
15th letter of the alphabet. O equals the number 6. 6 is love and harmony and nurturing. So people with 6 energy are very family oriented. And they'll even make people who are not their family their family. Okay? But people with 6 energy can also be explosive. They can hold things in, internalize them, and bottle them up. And then it comes spilling out uncontrollably. U is the 21st letter of the alphabet. 2 plus 1 equals 3. So U equals 3. 3 is the inner child. 3 is about joy, creativity, expression, information. So people with this U energy in their name, they are very good with words. They're good at public speaking.
This
They're
TikTok made me
naturally
question about
um,
reality. Honestly.
proficient in anything that has to do with arts and creativity. So this is how our name spells out our power.
Oh, that was crazy.
While everyone is focused on Diddy and on this
Yes.
bridge, we have actual biblical prophecy playing out. I'm going to be talking about the book of Ezekiel today. Your minds are about to be blown. This is so stinking cool. So I've been reading this book. Ezekiel was shown prophecy. He was shown what will happen in the end days. And more specifically, he does talk about what exactly happened with Israel walking up to the tribulation. Now, Ezekiel chapter 38 talks about a coalition of armies that come together and they create an alliance and they invade Israel. Now, it's important to note when you're in the book of Ezekiel, you're going to notice countries that are names that you're not familiar with, but they are the countries that we know them as now. So Magog is essentially Russia. There's Gomer and Turkey. In chapter 15, God is speaking to Gog, which is the leader of Magog, or essentially Russia as we know it today. Will come from your place in the far north, you and many nations with you, all of them riding on horses, a great horde, a mighty army. You will advance against my people Israel like a cloud that covers the land. In days to come, Gog, I will bring you against my land, so that the nations may know me when I am proved holy through you before their eyes. So God is going to use this moment, this event, to show his power and his sovereignty. So we have this, Russia, Iran, and Turkey forge new alliance. This. We also have this, Putin actually offered the leader of Africa weaponry, food, and supplies if he would come join in an alliance. Now we have this, Russian warships enter the Red Sea. This is 18 hours ago. Everything is coming together, and all of these countries are posturing themselves for the unfolding of this prophecy, y'all. The craziest part of all of this is that this is the opportunity that the Antichrist uses to come in and offer Israel a 7-year peace deal. He says, come with me, you'll be fine, I'm gonna protect you. In the middle of those 7 years, he breaks his promise and he reveals who he is. I don't know how all of this is actually going to play out, but y'all, this is insane and this is fun times to be alive if you are saved by Jesus Christ. Get your heart ready. Do not waste your eternity. We are actually watching biblical prophecy play out in front of our eyes.
Check this out. Alexa, what's today's date?
18th of March, 2024 was on a Monday.
Alexa, have we experienced 2024 yet?
The year 2024 has not yet been experienced. A reference
Whoa.
to the year
Did you hear
2024
that?
can be found in the context of tornado damage in the Florida Panhandle on January 9, 2024, as reported by the National Weather Service.
Alexa, elaborate on that, please.
That's all I have on that.
Alexa, how can we be living in the year 2024 but we haven't experienced it
Alexa
yet?
knows something that we don't even know.
Time is a relative concept, and the notion of living in the future can be interpreted differently depending on the point in time. For example, while 2024 seems far away now, it can be considered the future when viewed from a longer historical perspective.
I think Alexa's telling us something.
Wow.
3 days of darkness, let me tell you everything that I know, and Lord knows I do not want to make this video. I don't like to speculate, and I'm not given to internet conspiracy theories, but I have something that I have to tell you. I do see something here. I've been seeing it here for a long time. It's time to come clean. I moved my family out of Alaska because of a gut feeling. Wasn't the only reason, it was just the first one that caused me to look for all the rest. Maybe it's silly, maybe none of this is true, but it bothered me so bad that I moved my family out of Alaska. This article was ran by Forbes over 6 years ago and can only help you speculate. This is the Edgar Cayce map, a clairvoyant communing with demons to see the future. Potentially total garbage. Only I don't think it is. Because this makes some kind of sense to me that I cannot explain. Now, until very recently, and I mean this month, I did not know that there was a correlation between total solar eclipses and devastating earthquakes. And now that I do, the plot is getting real thick, fam. In September of 1811, a total solar eclipse took this path through the United States. And in December of 1811, the New Madrid fault line popped off in a series of devastating earthquakes that lasted all the way through into January. Now, the scientists say there is increased earthquake activity in the face of new moons, a new moon being required for a total solar eclipse. There is a scientific correlation there that seems to have everything to do with causation. But it was 3 months after the eclipse. What's your point? If a barge goes under a bridge and hits one of the supports and damages it, there might be 2,000 vehicles roll over the bridge before it gives out, is what I'm saying. So that the new moon of a solar eclipse is like a barge passing under a bridge and hitting one of the supports. This is the path the total solar eclipse took in July 1963. Funny thing, it passed right through Talkeetna, Alaska, where my family and I lived, long before we were born. And then in March of 1964, a devastating earthquake tore Anchorage all to pieces. Solar eclipse is not an instant trigger, it's more like a fatal wound to the fault line. Doesn't mean there's going to be a terrible earthquake after every total solar eclipse, but every total solar eclipse affects the fault lines they pass over because of that new moon, scientifically. Whether I explain these events spiritually or physically, they are true both ways. It is the spiritual producing the physical. After the total solar eclipse of 1811, there was a series of devastating earthquakes, followed by years of decline straight into the Great Depression. Followed by the Great Depression, did you hear? Do total solar eclipses just mean earthquakes? No. They affect more than just fault lines. They warn of much more than just earthquakes. Look, if I could make this stuff up out of my own mind, I'd be God. Get it? But instead, look at us little bitty babies just learning about his creation, don't even know how it works. So, Rutro, what the stink is that converging right over top of the New Madrid fault? I mean, can you say X marks the spot? What is going on there? This is the path of the solar eclipse from August 21st of 2017. Well, nothing happened after that one, did it? It didn't warn of anything at all. Y'all forget about COVID and every single thing that has happened to our country since then? That wasn't enough to get your attention, get your minds right? Well, this is the path of that solar eclipse that's about to happen on April 8th. And the very spot where it crosses the path of the last one is the New Madrid fault line. Y'all don't see that right there? If you do not believe in God and only believe in science, that right there is alarming, bruh. And I mean, call the National Guard. See if they can stop it. Time for a Bible punch in the mouth. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Y'all think that's a random coincidence? This is the scientific prediction should that fault line pop off. Should that New Madrid fault line pop off right there, this is the prognosticator's view of what the future topography of the United States of America is going to look like. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to happen at all, only that it would make great and terrible sense to me if it did. I am no authority on this subject as far as men are concerned. I got 2 years of videos you can scroll though and decide for yourself whether I have authority and where it might be from. And still, that's not to say that this is true or false, only that it makes sense to me, but who am I? The scientists have no authority whatsoever to tell us how it's actually going to happen, and neither do I know exactly how it's going to play out in the details. We are all speculating on what exactly it's going to be. It is God who is in control of what it will be. But He gave us plenty of potential to consider in the face of world history. In March of 2011, a 9.1 undersea megathrust earthquake occurred in the Pacific Ocean, 72 miles off the coast of Japan. In July of 2010, there was a total solar eclipse that passed over the Pacific. Why would this affect Japan at all? Oh snap, this is the Ring of Fire, and that total solar eclipse went exactly this way. And that megathrust earthquake hit Japan this way. Oh, there's a pattern, a recurring series of events here. A pattern I did not know when I got the gut feeling to move my family out of Alaska. Not that that counts for anything. Except with me, I trust my gut. Did you know if they knew all the variables, they could predict all of the earthquakes too? It's on a schedule. What's funny is when I made that first Sign of Jonah video, I wasn't thinking about any of this at all. Not considering this as a potential for anything, I was thinking World War III is on our doorstep, and it is. The economy goes down, maybe a new round of disease, which thing is pestilence. Oh snap, if pestilence followed the 2017 eclipse, is there some way to know where we are on the timeline of what eclipses mean, or, what's following them specifically, each one? Probably, I haven't looked at that yet, but I'm pretty sure, you'd find it. 'Cause wouldn't that make sense? 3 Days of Darkness, as we're all hearing about it, is based on a false private prophecy wherein in 3 days of darkness, the Catholic Church's enemies will all be destroyed. And that might sound good on the surface, but they got that whole idea from the Bible to begin with, and men have been making false prophecies out of stuff they got in the Bible this whole time. Internet conspiracies also need not apply, because they're so chock full of disinformation, it's hard to sort it out, 3 Days of Darkness was one of the plagues that descended on Egypt during the Exodus. Precluding the Exodus. Does that mean we're about to get an Exodus? I stinking hope so, I really do. Does it mean we're gonna get a revival? Well, man, that's what I would surely love. Does it mean we're going into the wilderness? Well, that's what comes with it. Don't complain about the lack of onions, and don't ask for no geese. In the wilderness, they wanted geese. God gave them geese. Everybody that ate goose died. Y'all think this is a game based on your pleasures and desires? It is not. This surely means something rather than nothing. I can't tell you exactly what's gonna happen. I am ignorant of far too much. I can tell you exactly what there is to do about it, though, and how to prepare entirely. The only way to prepare for what is gonna follow this. It ain't stacking up food, water, and ammo. It's not fortifying your shelter. It's not preps. Nobody's promised tomorrow whether there's a calamity or not. What are you preparing for? The only way to prepare is to keep the Lord's commands. And when whatever happens, happens, if you are found keeping your Lord's commands to love your neighbor as yourself. Look, we ain't talking about being greedy and selfish. We're talking about laying down our lives for our friends. If you are found doing that, you have nothing at all to worry about in this life or the next. It don't matter what happens if that's what you're doing. If your heart is inclined towards the Lord, let the sky fall. It's all for you by His good pleasure. He's doing it all for you because it pleases Him to do for you. It doesn't matter what it looks like to the children of men. If you are a child of God, there is only glory ahead of you, and that's why it's all happening. It might look a little scary to your flesh because your flesh doesn't want to die. Once it does, the show's over. That's the end for the flesh. Dust you are, and to the dust you shall return, flesh. But like a seed planted in fertile soil, so is every Christian that goes into the ground. A seed never comes back as what it was, though it bear much fruit. There's nothing to be afraid of except that you are on the Lord's side. If God is for us, no one can be against us, in heaven or on earth. And this is a sign for your benefit, like a loving father warning his children. And the only way to prepare is to turn your heart and your mind back to the commandments of Jesus Christ. That's why we're getting the warning, because we're not doing that right now. And doing the commandments of Jesus Christ is our life. If we're not going to do that, there's no reason for us to be here. We're supposed to be sowing seeds and watering seeds for His harvest by loving everyone around us regardless of their opinions of us. This is the way to life. I'm going live tomorrow, Thursday, 8 p.m. Texas time with my brother Oscar D.
Alright, man, this is getting creepy and weird, man. Like, for real, for real. Now, have you ever had a thought about something?
Yes.
You didn't tell nobody, you didn't talk about it out loud, but then you get on your phone and that exact same thing that you was thinking about is on your phone? Man, watch this right here.
Your brain, but of course it goes further. So in this one, they said, can they understand the inner monologue, the things you're saying to yourself in your own mind? Mind you, by the way, when you dream, like your visual cortex runs in reverse, so your dreams are no longer safe. But we'll try this. So they had people watch a video and just narrate what was going on in the video in their mind. So the woman, she's hit in the back, she falls over. This is what the computer reconstructed the person thinking. See a girl, looks just like me, get hit in the back, and then she's knocked off. So our thoughts, are starting to be decoded. Yeah, just think about what this means for authoritarian states, for instance.
So basically, these group of scientists got together and add human subjects and put them into an MRI machine and map their brain, right? And they asked them certain questions, and they told them to watch certain things and to visualize what it is that they're watching, right? Or talk to themselves. While AI, at the same time, who's never seen what they're seeing, mapped out their brain to what it is that they see. What?
That's crazy.
What? Bro, this goes deeper than what we think it is, man. So the thoughts that we're thinking might not even be our own thoughts. Of course, we already know that certain beings in other realms, they, suggest things to us. But this is on a whole nother level. So it's not just our phones listening to us and, the cameras are watching us. There's also something else. Watch this.
Torques of this. How about, can we go from Wi-Fi radio signals, sort of like the Wi-Fi routers in your house, they're bouncing off radio signals that work sort of like sonar. Can you go from that to where human beings are, to images? So what they did is they had, a camera looking at a space with people in it. That's sort of like coming in from one eye. The other eye is the radio signals, so sonar from the Wi-Fi router. And they just learned to predict, this is where the human beings are. Then they took away the camera. So all the AI had was the language of radio signals bouncing around a room. And this is what they're able to reconstruct. Real-time 3D pose estimation, right? So suddenly AI has turned every Wi-Fi router into a camera that can work in the dark, specially tuned for tracking living beings.
Man, hell no.
This is crazy, honestly. Oh.
I went too deep. Have you heard of the prison
This TikTok
planet
made me
theory?
question
Well,
really
guess who just learned
some
about it?
reality.
Yeah. I didn't sleep last night.
Welcome to the
I
prison
did
planet
not sleep
theory.
last night, and if you keep watching this, you're probably not going to sleep either. So here I am, minding my own business on Reddit when I found Escaping Prison Planet. And for the next 3 hours, I dove too deep. Here's the gist of it. Essentially, we're all trapped here on Earth. We're all trapped here, and everything we know about, all the religions that believe in reincarnation, all these different things, yeah, we keep coming back to this Earth because there are astral beings that are harvesting our energy, and they are trapping us here. Sounds crazy, right? Sounds crazy. Well, let's get into the details. Apparently, these beings that are controlling us are these reptilian beings that you always hear about. Well, let's dive into it, In Jainism and Hinduism, they have Nagas, half human, half serpent. The Aztec Empire talked about a serpent-like god that they called Quetzalcoatl. And don't tell me if I pronounced it right or wrong. I don't care, okay? Surely, 2 instances, right? This is just a coincidence. African shamans talk about the Shitari, and it is a race of reptilian beings. The Hopi Indians in North America had the Sheti, which translates to snake brothers. Chinese, Japanese, and Korean legends all talk about the Kappa. And Gnostic texts, which if you don't know about the Gnostics, Gnosis just means knowledge, and basically what the Gnostics believed was after Christ died, you have to have particular knowledge that would save you. Well, the Gnostics, yeah, they believe in archons, which are parasitic entities that feed off of us. We're doing okay? We doing okay? So the question is why? What are these beings doing? Why are they here? Apparently, they have been involved from the foundations of human history in manipulating us, creating this soul trap, harvesting our energy. And what this theory proposes is essentially that light a tunnel that many people have talked about that have had near-death experiences or death experiences. Yeah, it's just to trick us, to essentially wipe us clean, send our souls back, and start the process again. So every major form of religion talks about how we have a soul. Well, we are a soul. We have a body, right? This body is essentially a rental car. And these beings, what they feed off of, what the energy they feed off of is this low vibrational energy. So whether it's stress, whether it's fear, whether it's contention, pain, grief, jealousy, rage, all of it, anxiety, that's what they feed off of. And so they manipulate and they toy with us and they do all these things to create this energy. Now, I don't know if this is true, but that kind of describes the world we live in. It kind of describes it pretty damn well. I mean, look what Tesla says. He says, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. What freaks me out the most is there's so many urban legends talking about these freaking reptilians. That motherfucker right there is not real, right? Like, everything that's going on in freaking Miami, like, Like, I think we can all agree that there's multiple dimensions, right? People having experiences on psychedelics where multiple people will take the same thing and they all go to another dimension and see the same thing. Like, how do you explain that? How do you explain that? Explain it to me, please. I'm going way too long with this, and I haven't even freaking scratched the surface. But basically, we're just all here. Life is engineered to create this low vibrational energy, and what happens is when we die, when we go through that light tunnel, we're tricked into thinking, hey, you need to go back to Earth, there's more you need to learn, or there's karma you need to resolve, or, there's a higher purpose that you need to do. And we come back, and it's the same thing. Listen, I'm a very spiritual person. Very spiritual. I believe all of us as humans are connected. I believe you look at every major world religion and there's commonalities, and that it's because it stems from this eternal knowledge. But this freaking scared the crap out of me. Because what if it's all just engineered to trick us? Anyways, I can dive deeper if you guys are interested, but if you're not, whatever. I'll just be sitting up at night, not being able to sleep.
I recently shared a video where a sister was saying that her husband told us to get on the ships when they come. Now, this is a prophecy that I've already known about, which is in Isaiah in the King James Version. A lot of people was under the comments asking questions, what type of ships were these and what would be the sign that this was about to happen? Well, this is very important. I received a call from a friend, and he was in a Bible study group, and he said they asked him what was his take on the 3 days of darkness. And I said, well, what are you referring to? Revelations 8:12. And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the star, so as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. Amos 16-21. Therefore the Lord God of the hosts, Lord, saith thus, wailing shall be in all streets, and they shall say in all the highways, alas, alas, and they shall call the husbandman to mourning, and such as are skillful of lamentation to wailing, and in all vineyards shall be wailing, for I will pass through thee, saith the Lord. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. As if a man did flee from a lion, and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall, and a serpent bit him. Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light, even very dark and no brightness in it? I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. And we got to talking and, going over this, and we was just, looking at the Passover, and everything like this. And when the Messiah was killed in the 3 hours of darkness that came when he was killed, this is a foreshadow of another 3 days of darkness coming in Revelation. Again, okay, so all of this is connected with the Passover week and everything like this, apparently. So I went on the internet, and all I wanted to do was pull up some scriptures. So I said 3 days of darkness, KJV, King James Version. And before any scriptures came up, the first thing that came up on my screen was 3 days of darkness, April 2024. So apparently the Most High put this in our spirit, not just to study, but this is a warning. We're right here at it, people. So let me share some scriptures where you can get a good understanding of exactly what I'm talking about. Isaiah 68-9. Who are these that fly as a cloud and as the doves to their window? Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Lord thy God, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. Now, this is the old prophecy. When you go and look up Tarshish, you will see that these are ancient ship merchants. Okay. But let me tie all this in together to show you how this correlates with the 3 days of darkness. Exodus 10:21-29. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days. But all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. And Pharaoh called unto Moses and said, Go ye, serve the Lord. Only let your flocks and your herd be stayed. Let your little ones also go with you. Okay, I'm going to stop at verse 25. But what we can clearly see is after the 3 days of darkness, the Pharaoh put them out of Egypt. It was like, yo, I'm done. Take you, your kids, just leave your cattle and get up out of here. And if you even look right after that, Moses said, nah, we taking the cattle and all that. Ain't now one of them going to be left behind. All right. So to answer the questions that were asked, how do we know when this is going to happen with the ships coming and what type of ships is going to be? The first thing it said in Isaiah, it asks, who are these who fly as the clouds and as the doves at their windows? How can you have a dove at your window while you're flying like a cloud? We're talking about an airplane, some type of aircraft. OK, so that's one answer. Two, how do we know the sign that they're about to send these ships? Well, go back to Exodus. What happened? It was 3 days of darkness. So this is the connection. Oddly enough, I posted this video about this old prophecy and us leaving. OK, and then my brother calls me asking about 3 days of darkness. And we get to studying. That's the answer. So these are going to be crafts that fly. And this is going to happen after 3 days of darkness. Now, let's get into April 2024.
Wow, this is crazy. Okay, guys, this is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.